Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Delphine Konda and I'm back again with another Chevening scholarship application video. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can use the power of storytelling to write your Chevening essays. Not just for Chevening essays, but how you can use storytelling as a technique to write powerful essays, even when you are doing your master's program and you have an assignment or you're applying for other scholarship opportunities. Storytelling is a powerful tool that you can use to bring out emotions that can help the person that is going through your application to understand from where you're coming from and where you want to be going to. But there is a way to go about it because you want to understand exactly what is it that you need to do and how you need to do it to make it work. A few years back, when I worked with an international organization in Cameroon as a communication officer and then proceeded to become a communication in emergency officer, which simply means that I was going around 7 refugee camps in Cameroon, documenting the lives and experiences of refugees that had fled the war in Central African Republic or those that were running away from the Boko Haram insurgency. The public relations and communication advisor at that organization, who was my immediate boss, had taken the pains to train me on how to use storytelling as a technique to communicate issues in the society, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. This technique, which she called the pyramid way of writing case studies, has become an important tool that I have used over the years in different circumstances to communicate issues that I am passionate about. And here I'm going to be sharing with you how to use storytelling as a technique. First things first, it's a powerful tool. Being able to tell a story in a way that captivates another person to understand from where you're coming from, where you are going to, is something that needs particular skills. So how do you go about it? The very first thing that you want to think about is you have to use an example. If you're going to be using your own example, you have to be able to tell them, using yourself as an example, what is it that you want to communicate. Do not worry, at the end of all these things, I'm going to give you an example that we can use together. The second thing is that you must create a narrative. What is it that you want to communicate? What is it that you want the person reading to understand from the back of your mind? This narrative has to be determined by you. So if you are writing an essay, every word, every sentence, every statement should be intentionally put the way you have put them to create a particular sense, a particular direction in the mind of the person that is reading your story. The next thing is that you need to build a momentum. So if you're using an example of yourself, you want to create a narrative of who you are and what you are about, what you're passionate about. As you go about telling that story, you should be building a momentum. It should be climbing. Every sentence should be intentional. You should put a word there, like choose the kind of words that you want to put so that the person reading it will be building anticipation to want to know more and see where the story leads you to. Now, this is where the training that my former boss gave me comes into play. You want to make sure when you're writing an essay, this is not just a story for the sake of it. It's not for pleasure, entertainment. It is to communicate your skills and to show your story, to be able to tell your story so that the person that is reading the application understands what you want. So you make sure that when you have your example, which is you create a narrative of how you want to be perceived, you build the momentum. You want to make sure that you link it to a wider problem that is outside of you. That is where the pyramid comes from. So at the pyramid, you start at the top, which is you. As you go down, it becomes wider. So you have to link your issue to a larger society problem. Then you are telling the application board, you're telling Chevening people, you're telling that scholarship, that academic institution that investing in you is not just about you, not just about the challenges that you have had, but it is about other people that you can have the opportunity to help. Because whatever issue that you are facing, if you have experienced gender-based violence, you were raped, or your parents experienced domestic violence, or you're passionate about environmental sustainability, whatever your experiences are, the fact remains that some other person and some other group of people are going through similar experiences, and you would be the perfect person to be able to guide and direct them to come out of that experience or challenge because it has happened to you. So as your pyramid is going down, it has to get wider. So you have to link your issue to a wider society issue. That way it draws attention a little bit from you and puts it on a society of other people whom you have the potential to unlock, to bring them into the light, in quotes, and be able to empower them to become like you. When you link this problem to a wider societal problem, make sure that you use data, statistics to back up your argument. Let's say you're talking about someone that has experienced rape, gender-based violence of any sort, and you start by giving your example, start by talking about yourself, at some point you should be able to bring in data. For instance, the United Nations has statistics, the World Health Organization has statistics that shows the amount of adolescent girls that will be abused or face abuse by the time that they are 18 years old. Bring in those statistics and then add the statistics of your country and your community so that you show them why it is important to invest in you. Do not stop there. Show them that you have done a lot by showing the kind of projects and initiatives that you have taken to address this problem that you are passionate about, and by showing them that, make sure that you leave a room to show that you've done a lot, but you still need empowerment to be able to do the more work that you have seen that is supposed to be done. That way, you show that you are a powerful person, but you still need the support of Chevening to come in and give you a boost by going to study your master's program. So now, let us try by using an example. This is just a random example, and I'm going to use an NGO example because I work with a non-profit organization, so that's the kind of work I know. So I cannot use any other corporate example. So let me use what I know. I'm just going to use a paper that I scribbled on. But let's say our subject for the purpose of this example is called Ashu. Ashu is my mother's family name, so let's use Ashu. Okay, we could say something like this. Ashu is a 25-year-old women's rights advocate from Limbe, Cameroon. I'm from Cameroon. I'm from Limbe. Today, she leads a non-profit organization raising awareness about gender-based violence. So you have already introduced Ashu. Whoever is reading through that essay already knows from what angle Ashu is coming from and wants to know more. But Ashu was not always a strong and outspoken advocate for women's empowerment. She is a survivor of GBV. Notice, I did not say she's a victim of gender-based violence. I said she's a survivor. Remember, every word that you use should be intentional to show your strength and not necessarily your weakness. She is a survivor of gender-based violence. 10 years ago, Ashu was abused by a neighbor who was supposed to be taking care of her. She went through pains, etc., without the help from family, community because of the high rate of stigmatization or whatever reason it is. This is why she decided to start Project XYZ to help other young women like her who have experienced abuse. Ashu is not the only girl in her community who has experienced abuse. Do you notice now that from the point I say that Ashu is not the only girl who has experienced abuse, the triangle has gotten wider. So I have moved from Ashu, I'm linking it now to other girls. According to the United Nations or the World Health Organization or whatever statistics you have, 1 in 3 girls have experienced abuse by the time they reach the age of 18 years. Now you have brought in something to back up your argument, back up the reason why you are important, why your project is important, why you should be funded. Ashu's project empowers girls like those mentioned in these statistics through education, awareness raising, legal assistance, etc. And thanks to her project, 10,000 girls between the ages of 10 to 18 have benefited from legal assistance, from education, from awareness raising. Ashu believes that education is an important component to bring change in her community, and this is why she would like to study a master's in community mobilization or gender equality or women empowerment or community development from the University of, let's say, Birmingham in the United Kingdom, and is applying for a Chevening scholarship to enable her study this program. Simple as ABC. You have told a story that is powerful. There is nowhere in the story where you have seen me presenting Ashu as a weakling, as someone begging for attention or begging Chevening or any scholarship board to look at them. I have presented the young lady as someone who experienced a trauma but who picked themselves up through sheer grit and determination, demonstrated her leadership skills, who went further to take initiative and demonstrate her leadership skills by picking herself up, starting an organization, making sure that the organization empowers other people who are survivors of the same trauma that she has experienced. So you see that at no point was there a crime, because there are literally applications where you see people trying to tell a story but they are literally crying in the story, and that is too emotional. But in this case, you want to put the emotion out there while keeping the facts at the same time. You want to tap into the reader's emotion, but at the same time tapping into the logical side of the person, so that the essay is not too emotional. So that is one way that you can use to write a story when you are talking about the Chevening Scholarship. You're writing an essay for your academic work as a bachelor's or master's student, or you're writing an essay for any other academic purposes or scholarship. It could even be a motivation letter that you want to write. Incorporating storytelling techniques into it is a good way to go about it. Let me know in the comment section if this was helpful. Let me know if there's any other thing that you want me to talk about. At this point, I feel like literally I've talked about everything regarding Chevening, and that's why on the 31st of August, we are going to be having a live session at 6 p.m. Cameroonian time on YouTube, where I can answer all of your questions, and the questions that I have literally no answer for, I will make sure that I direct them to like the Cameroon Chevening Alumni Association. I know people in there who can answer our questions, and then I can relay them back to you. Until we meet again, guys, please do not forget to create some impact.